everybody, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Today we are going to do a video all about how to make those beautiful sleeves that go over your candle boxes, and you can use this idea for many different products as well that are boxed. So first of all, here all I have is a pretty boring box. It's nothing exciting. It's a corrugated box, and then in front of me here you can see how I have already designed these. Now basically all this is going to do is be like a wrap that goes around the outside. So I'm just going to show you this one, which I've already cut, and basically I get these printed at Vistaprint after I design them on Canva. So today this is a full tutorial how you're going to be able to design them on Canva. These are going to work out really cheap. I think it works out to be about 31 cents a sleeve, which is super cheap, but of course it depends on how big the box is and so on. But for this one here, this is going to be my large one. So this will be for a 400 gram candle, which I sell for $50, and generally $50 to $70 is fairly normal for this extra large type size. So now I have actually got the ones printed out here, and this is the one that we're going to use. Now I'm going to tell you there are two different papers. Now I don't know whether you can see how rigid this is. So this is the professional premium paper, and then you can get a cheaper one, which is just this more flexible one. So you'd use this for a smaller candle, but if you want them to look super professional, I definitely suggest you get these. So now what I've done, just to show you, so this is the large box, and what I've actually done is created this so that it would fit onto an A3 size. So basically that's basically how it is, because it's big, but depending on the size we can change them. So now if you can see here, this is basically how it's going to sit on my box. You can go to the edge if you want. I didn't, because I just wanted to work with the paper size I had, but you know, you might have a sticker that you want to put on that or something. But look how professional that looks. So basically I've got my logo and everything I need, a little bit of information about this box, and then turn it around, and then look how professional that looks. I mean, it just looks beautiful, and I 100% agree, getting professional boxes made really does up your game, and it really can make you super professional. But this is definitely the second next best step, because not all of us can afford a professional box, and I totally understand that. So I'm going to go through the tutorial. I'm going to show you exactly how to make these, and then I'm going to also take you onto Vistaprint where I got these printed, and I'll teach you exactly how to do that right down to the last step. So hopefully you've got your computer ready, or you're sitting in front of the TV with a pen and paper to write a few things down. And like I said, we are going to do a full tutorial on how to make a professional sleeve for about 30 cents for a big one, and I think it works out to be about 27 cents for the medium sized one. And of course then, like I said, it's going to up your game, make everything beautiful, and look how gorgeous that is. And then all you need is double-sided tape on the bottom. But let's get going, and I'll show you exactly how I've made these beautiful boxes. Size. We're going to be making a box that fits a 400 gram candle. So for this particular exercise, I have organized already the numbers so that we'll go through the numbers. So to start with, basically we just want to make the design. So we're going to go straight into Canva. I'm on the home page now. Just push create a design. We want a custom design because there's going to be nothing to fit the exact one we want, and change pixels down to centimeters because I've got this in centimeters, but if you're measuring your box in inch, of course you can do that as well. Now the height is going to be the bit that is going to wrap right around the full box. So for this one we are going to say 42 centimeters. Now we're going to be making this when we go back to Vistaprint to print it. We're going to actually insert this into a 42 centimeter piece of paper. Now this paper means an A3, so that's basically why. To be really honest, there is not a piece of paper long enough, or you know, like on Vistaprint or something like that, unless you get these custom made. But of course that would be honestly about 10 times the amount in the cost. So we're just going to do this on an A3 because I've measured it. It almost fits. There is a 3 centimeter gap, but we can just put a normal piece of paper in there, you know, or a normal bit in there, or you can just stick it straight to the box. It doesn't matter. But anyway, like I said, so it's going to be 42 centimeters in height, and the width across is 11 centimeters. centimeters. Now, once I go and make this, we are going to have to divide this into the sides and the top. So there is a little bit of maths involved, but I'll show you some ways that I've spent a lot of time, going around and moving the sizing. So hopefully this is going to help. So now we'll push create, and this is going to give us our basic template that we want. So what I suggest is when we're actually measuring things up in here, make them different colors because we can change them later, but then it will show you the divide in them. So now let's get started. Okay, so first of all, we are going to need a square for the top, rectangle for the front, and the rectangle for the back. So in here, all I usually do is go to elements, press on elements, and we're just going to get a basic square. So our square is in here. It's going to make it pink. That's fine. We don't mind about that. Now just bring it to the outside because we know this is 11 centimeters. Now we want the top of the box to be 11 by 11 centimeters because we've already measured that and we know that's what it is. So if you basically hold down this tool, it will bring up a ruler, and you can see here it says 11 by 11, although I think it just changed it to 11 by something else. But if you make a mistake, just go onto it and change it. So that is the middle. Now if we drag this, can you see that plus in the middle? That's telling us that that is directly center in the middle of the bar, and that's where we want this. We definitely want this because I'm going to show you what we're going to do in a minute, and you'll kind of get why I'm putting this in here. So now we do have this. You can just push Control C and Control V. That will give you an extra box. And we're going to change the color of the box just so that it's easy to understand for what we're doing now. So now we're just going to press this box against this one because, we don't want a white gap in between. But we know that the front of the box is not going to be the same as the top because it's a little bit longer. So the front of it is actually 11 centimeters wide, which is across here, and it's 12 centimeters long. So once again, just hold the mouse down onto it and drag till you get the 12 centimeters. Sometimes it can be a little bit finicky to get exact because, to be really honest with you, I'm on a really old, cheapy looking computer. So that says 12.1, but we'll fix that to 12. And let me see if I can get it to 12. It's pretty hard to get it exact sometimes, but you can do it for sure. You just got to play around just very, very carefully with it. So let me get that to 12.1's okay because we can wrap that around anyway. So now what we're going to do is Control C, Control V again, and that way we can get the same piece to be on the top. So this is the front of the box, this is the back of the box. Now something that you may not have considered to think about is the front of the box is going to look straight, but the back of the box, because it wraps around, is going to have to be backwards. Hopefully that makes sense and you kind of get what I'm talking about with that. But now, and this little bit here at the bottom, and can you see this tiny bit here at the bottom as well? That's going to wrap around the bottom of the container or the box. So what I usually do is, this is where I have the writing, your directions and so on here. So now let me just make this a little bit bigger, and we're going to concentrate just on the front of the box for now. So you can make this in so many different ways, but usually what I do is I put my branding on here and then I'll write what it is and so on. So let's just pretend we are going to be making it. So for this exercise, I'm just literally going to put an image in here. So we will just go in here. Let's go to my uploads, which is things that I'm making myself, and pictures. These are my own pictures I've taken. So let's just pretend we are going to be using this as the box, for instance. Actually, let me delete that one. Let me just go in here. We will just put this in. So we're going to just pretend this is what we want to use. So what I usually do is just put my picture in here, bring it down to whatever you want, and then we're going to bring this across. So now we know this is the right size. So what I do here is we're just going to delete the purple out now because we have this image in and we know that's the right size. So let's just pretend this is the front of our box. So we've already got that in here. We know that is right. So now what I do is put the text in. So let's just go and add our text in. So for instance, if this is going to be a candle, which we all know it is, I'm just going to enlarge this because my old eyes can't see this very good. So now we're just going to write here, for instance, Australian, although it'd be good if I double clicked, wouldn't I, on it? So let's just type this in. So we will write Australian soy candle, for instance, because I know many of you will be making a soy. So then basically you can put this up here, because when you fold it over, remember the fold is where these two colours meet. But of course we're not going to have that colour. We're going to bring it all the same colour in a minute. So basically, although I do have a T in here, don't I? Let me just fix that one up. And of course I absolutely did it. So just go up to the top and undo if that's right. And to do this video, because my sound isn't working on my normal one, so I actually had to do it on this. And this is a very small little laptop, and even though I've got glasses on, it's very hard for me to see. So anyway, like I said, so we've got the front of the box, because you're probably not all going to have the same as me. And then, you know, what I usually do in this is where I would write manufactured by, the weights and everything else. So let's just do, we're going to just do a bit of an example so that you'll see what I mean. So in here, we'll just write manufactured, and I'm sorry if my spelling's right, but you know we're just doing this to show you. Manufactured, we'll just say by Rhonda. It's not really, but whatever your business name is, just write that in there. And then you might just write whatever your street address is. We'll just write Melbourne Street, Melbourne, and so on. So now this is, we're just pretending, okay, this is our manufacturing details, the end here. So we're going to write 400 grams, if that's what it is. And then we are also going to write, you know, usually I do it in ounces. So 14.1, let me just go ounce. So, okay, so we've got everything we need in here. Just pull that down to here. Remember, this is the fold line here, so don't get too close to the fold line. And now let me just make this a bit smaller so you can see. So that's the front of our box, okay? So you've got that it's a candle, you've got it's manufactured by you, and you've got the weight. So you need to have those on there. So now we've got that bit there, and like I said, we've measured this, so we know these measurements are right. They're right on the box. Now remember at the bottom, this tiny little bit at the bottom, so I'm just going to make it small. Remember this tiny little white bit that we didn't do anything in here? This bit here is going to wrap around the back of the box. So if you want this whole box pink, just now you can go in here and change this little piece here to pink. So let me just see if we can add this pinkish kind of colour in. So pretend your box is all going to be the same colour. We'll just change it to that. And then that is your colour. Let's just change it to one that's a little bit easier to see, that matches in with the rest of it. So now I've chosen that pink, so you can see this is where we were going to write some more details, because this is going to wrap around the back, remember, of the box. So let's just make this a bit bigger, because it will be easier for us all to see, won't it? And let me just see if I can grab this, and we'll just pull this down to the next piece, and under here. So like I said, this little bit at the bottom here, this is going to wrap around the very bottom of your box. So at the bottom of your box, you might just write directions, safety warnings, anything like that. So for instance, I'm going to just give you some ideas in here. So obviously don't write this, you know, do your research and write in here. So I would write, you know, safety, or actually usually what I write is warnings. So I put my warnings in there, and then you might write directions and fill that out, obviously. So fill all this bit out here, and basically that's your bottom. Okay, so we've done that. We've done the front, which is that bit here. Now, remember this pink bit we put in here? This is going to be the top. So let's just make this smaller so it's easier for everyone to see. I'll make it smaller again. So now the top of your box, it depends what you want. Personally, if it was me, I would be doing the same picture as what's on here, because it just makes it look really beautiful, and it really does show what it is. Now on here, I actually write my letters I make my words go across ways so that it says kind of what it is, but you can choose whatever you like. So we'll just pretend that we're going to call this romantic candle. Let's just pretend that's its name. So we'll write that in there. And now move this however you want. You know, you can get this and flip it sideways. And hopefully I'm not doing this too fast, like I'm actually showing you a little bit. But anyway, we'll just pretend. So that's the front. We've got everything that we need. So now, like I said, we're going to the top. So an easy way to put your picture in is, once again, just go to elements. It's really easy. And you can either choose the square once again, or you can go down a little bit further. And these frames will actually frame it. So we'll just click on frame. So now pretend you want to circle one at the top. We will just, you know, make this go however you want it to go. And once again, if you move this, can you see that line? That plus is saying that's directly in the middle of the top, which is what we want. So now in here, we can go back and get our picture once again. So we'll go to my uploads, because I've already uploaded it. So if you use Canva, you'll know that's how you do it. Let's just get this, and we're just going to drag it into the center. And you can see that the design has already gone into the center, and you may not want anything else. But personally, I write the scent on here. I just write a little, you know, blurb about it. So I'll give you an example. So if it's my normal one, which is Blooming Rose, I write a beautiful signature scent of rose peonies and fruity red roses with mild notes of gardenia and florals. So that's generally what I write on it, but you don't have to. And now across, remember we did this pink, so let's just change this so that it looks the same as the rest of the box. And let me just go back into this, and we want to change it to that because let me get off that. So now if you can see how it all matches now. So you've got the bottom, you know, the front of the box, and then of course you have this part of the box. So now, hopefully that makes sense. So now we've done that. Now this, remember this bit here is the back of the box. So I'll show you this tricky little bit as well as we go along. So now you can do whatever you want on the back, but if you're paying money to get this printed, I get mine printed through Vistaprint, I suggest you put a picture, because there's no good leaving it pink unless you want to. But generally, this is where I would put a picture, and you might talk about, you know, the ingredients you're using, or if you're, you know, if you're going plastic free, if there's no paraffins, things like that, important things that will make people buy it, you might want to put on here. So once again, I'm just going to go and literally, you know, bring in my picture, because remember, this is the one we had before. So now I'm just going to like drag it in here to see that it fits. And I'm using all of these bits here that you can see. This is, it kind of guides me. So now let's just push delete, because we want to delete that out. And we'll drag this over because we know it's going to fit. And now this is the tricky bit, because, you know, if you think about this, like I said, it's going to wrap around the back. So this bit needs to be backwards. And the reason it needs to be backwards is because if someone picks up the back of the box and you leave it like this, it means the shoes will be upside down. So all we're going to do is highlight it. You can see it's highlighted. Go into flip, and then we are going to flip this vertical. So if you flip it, you can see already you didn't have to do any work. It's done it. It's still in the same position. But of course, it's backwards, and then you're writing. So if you want to do writing, remember the same thing. The writing's going to be backwards. So we'll pretend we're going to do a text in here. So now let's just write in here, and you can change the text, you know, just go to here and change this to whatever you want. So we'll just change it to that. And like I said, let me just expand this so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. So now let's just write something like, I've got to think now what we're going to write. You might want to talk about why to buy your candles. So you might say like, why buy our candles? You know, it might not be like this, of course, you know, change however you want. And then, you know, maybe you might want to write a dot form. So click onto the list here, and you might write things like, paraffin free. Please remember my spelling may not be right because I'm just doing this. And I haven't written any notes down. This is just off the top of my head. So you might write paraffin free. You might write things like color free. If you put a UV stabilizer, maybe you want to write UV stabilizer used, something like that. So now let's just pretend we're going to do that. Now, if you see our picture, it's really bright. Can you see how it's kind of bright? But what we can do is we can click on this and then go to transparency, and this will lighten it. So we could lighten the back of the box so that you can see the writing better if that's what you want to do. So now we've got that. Remember, once again, we need to flip this. So just get this rounded button and make it go backwards. And you want it to say 180 because that means it's straight. If it says 177 or 182, it's not exactly straight. So it says 180, drag it to wherever you want it to sit, if you want it to sit in the middle. And then that is the back. And then remember this little bit at the far back here, this is where we're going to do writing because that is going to be, once again, go to the back of the box, remember? So with this little bit here, if I was to write something, the same thing, I would be flipping this so that it's right. Because if you do the writing that way, it's wrong. So you might want to write, you know, things like, you know, we'll pretend it's directions. Let me spell it right, directions. So you might want to write things like, I usually write things like, place your candle on a flat surface away from drafts, curtains, and flammables. You know, this is just what you might want to write. You can change anything. You don't have to write what I'm writing, but just giving you a couple examples that are standard examples. And I usually write on my candles, candles are not intended for children. It does protect you a little bit. Because, you know, if you have a pretty pattern on it that a little girl likes or a little boy likes and they go, oh, I want it, and then someone buys it for them and they light a fire, you kind of, you know, it's just covering you to say, well, we do say it's not for children. You know, so that's what I sort of suggest. And like you can see, I flipped it backwards once again, and now let's just put it in place. Make sure it's not too close to here because that's going to be your fold line here. And basically that is it for the box. And once you go onto Vistaprint, what actually happens on Vistaprint is you're just going to go into brochures. So you just go straight into brochures and you're going to insert this in. It's really easy, and get it printed. Or you can take this to your local office supplier and say, you know, I need this printed, and this is basically what it looks like. So I'll make this smaller so that hopefully you can see a little bit. And can you see, this is what our label looks like now. So we've got the wording at the bottom, the front, the top, the back of the box, and then of course the words on the very back. So I hope today's video has really helped you understand how you can make a belly band, and you can make these, you know, if you were doing it for a small box that you've got at home, you could definitely do that. So, and you might even be able to print that out yourself, you know, rather than going to Vistaprint or something like that. But the reason I chose to go to them to get these done is I actually don't do the standard flyer. I actually pay extra for the premium one, and it's a much thicker card and it wraps much nicer around the box. So definitely don't get the cheaper one. I definitely suggest going to the premium paper when you're going to Vistaprint. So I've done this part of it. So now at the back of, so we're going to save this obviously now, and then I'm actually going to show you on Vistaprint. So we'll go over to Vistaprint and I'll show you how I actually insert it in there and save it. So from here, we've already done this. So let's just go to share, and we want to download it because we want to save this. Now, if you want to save this, this is important, everybody, to remember. So we're just going to write download. Now, you want to go into this bit here, and we want to say PDF print. So this is what you're saving it as. And then click on this and write CMYK. And that way, all your writing, everything will be perfect in Vistaprint. It will have no problems with smudging or anything like that. Then we'll push download. And of course, we want to save this onto our computer. It will take a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter. It will save it in. So now let's just go into here, and I'm just going to literally save it. So I'll just write download and save to my computer as well. So let me just go into my desktop, and it's a 400-gram candle. So I'm going to write Vistaprint. We'll just write shoes so I know which one it is, which this isn't one I'm using. This is just a practice one. So we'll just push save. So now we have done that. So let's go over now to Vistaprint, and I'll show you how to put it in. We are back, everybody. I am in Vistaprint, and of course I'm in Australia. So this is Australian money, so you'll be able to see prices and so on in Australia. So I'm just literally going to go into, marketing materials, and then I choose the flyers and pamphlets. That's usually what I do for mine. So we're just going to go into that. So we'll click onto that one there. It's going to give me some options, and I'm going to go into the size. And now let's just go to A3, because you can see this is 42 centimeters or 420 millimeters, and that's what we've already designed it in. So we'll click on that. Of course, we want it flat. We don't want it folded. We'll just pretend we're going to get 1,000 of those. Don't worry about anything else. And we don't need to browse it. We know what we want. So we're just going to upload a design. We'll just say, yep, fine. We're going to select it, even though I did that wrong. We might have to go back because this is the opposite way round. So let's just go back because we want a vertical one. We don't want it horizontal. So let me just go back in and do this. I should have paid attention and I didn't. All right, so we want it flat, so we've got all the right bits in here. Let's just say upload, and we want vertical. So make sure it's vertical because that's how we've designed it. Select. And it's going to load so that we can put our image in, and I'll show you how to do it. So basically you can just go into here, so images, and then we want to upload one. So I'm going to upload this from my computer as well. So remember we went in here, I think I did it. I have to remember where I've actually put them now. So I put them in the candles. I think, yep, the 400-gram candle is where we put this one in. And let me find it. So Vistaprint here. So this is the one that we're going to put in. We'll open this one up. And it should come in here in a minute. Looks like it's frozen a little bit. Let me just go and add this one in here again. And I know it does work because I've used it before. I think Vistaprint is not happy. Wonder why this does not want to work. Now there you go, it's finally in here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, you can see it's too big for here, so I'm just going to delete it. I don't know why, but it just won't let us put just one image that way. So this is why I do it my way. And so now I'm just going to upload it again because, oh, there you go, cancel. So we just want to make it small, don't we? So now you can see in here that it's going to be in here. So let's just pretend we're going to put it in. So 42.3 is what's going to be at the end. So just go to the very end of these lines. Don't go over it, even though Vistaprint will say, you know, you're not printing them the right amount. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to delete that one. So now you can see in here, we've put one in there, and now what we're going to do is, if you pop on that, duplicate the same one if you want to put the same, or put two in, and literally that's all you're going to do. And it's going to print obviously the outside white, and then you're going to just cut down, but literally that is it. That's all you're going to do, and then go to next. So let's just go into the next part here. We'll say continue without a back. We don't need a back as well. And then of course you want to check it because you can see everything. Just say yes, you're happy with that, continue. Obviously I'm not going to order these, I'm just showing you how to actually do this bit here. And now this is the important bit. The budget one's fine, but it's very thin paper, so I actually go to the premium. And the reason I do that is to get a much thicker card. So if you want this to be a thick card so that it's a really professional belly band, I definitely suggest you choose this one. I know it's a lot more money, but that's the one I chose. But it's saying 100 because we're talking 1,000, but I never get them printed in 1,000. I always get them printed in just 30, or I can't remember what it was, 25 or 50 of them. So we would just click on that one there, and it's going to do all of that, add that to cart, and of course it's going to add it to the cart, and you go to the end and choose whatever you want to go. So now we'll just say go to cart because we don't need all the other rubbish. They'll just try to obviously show you other things to buy along the way. And now it is literally in here and ready for us to buy. Now if you want to change this to, we'll just pretend we only want 50. It's going to change and show you the price. So 50 of them would be $67.99. And I think actually I only got 25 last time, because remember, if you order 25 actually is much better. I don't know what happened then. Oh, there you go. So 25 is only $37, but remember, you're actually getting 50 because you can fit two on one thing, if that makes sense. But for me, what I usually do is do one design of one here, another design of a different one here, so you can kind of get two for the price of one. Because most of us are not going to sell hundreds of 400-gram candles fast. That's a candle for me that I charge $50 for, so it's one that I don't sell heaps of them. But when someone buys it, they do want to have a beautiful box and have it all finished. So anyway, we are totally finished. I hope you have loved this video. Make sure you give me a massive big thumbs up, and make sure you come and show me, go to our Facebook group, show me all the things that you're making. I would love to see them, and I hope my videos come in super duper handy. But do make sure you pop on your notification and subscribe to our channel, because that does help us, and it helps YouTube know that our videos are good enough to show other people. Anyway, happy making, everyone, and I hope that I've showed you something new for today. Have a great day. I will see you on the next video. Bye, friends.